everyone. My name is Tainara Machado. I am a student at Universidade Federal do Rio Grande do Sul, and I'm here today to present the article Ghetto Black Women and the Legacy of Carolina Maria de Jesus Between Songs, Sambas, Dances, Conversation Circles in Campo da Tuca, Rio Grande do Sul. So this article is the result of a project carried out in a ghetto community in the period between 2018 and 2020, which had as one of its objectives the implementation of Law 10,639 of 2003. For its full effectiveness, we sought to support and guide this project work with Black women from the ghetto Black women community through canonical reference such as Carolina Maria de Jesus, Lélia Gonzalez, Conceição Evaristo, Bell Hooks, and Elza Soares. Women of their times broke with the imposed dynamics teaching us to transgress. So for us to start talking about the project, I start from this territory, which is the place where I was born and where I grew up and where I also studied. From this territory, I also acted and was in this space as a student, and I am also the result of these social projects. From the other point that is part of the project, I worked as a social educator in the same situation where the project was implemented, executed, and elaborated. Anyway, I also acted and I was a representative of this institution as a municipal counselor of the rights of children and adolescents. I also transited in other spaces as a pre-university course participant through the Emancipa network. And today I'm graduating in social work, as I said before, at Universidade Federal do Rio Grande do Sul. So for us to start, I start from where I arrived, but from a place outside my territory that was where it all started, which was through the Emancipa pre-university course. In this space, I had critical knowledge, anti-racist knowledge, and social knowledge. It was a space in a course willing to discuss matters that go beyond a test or studying for a test to pass the entrance exam. So there we can understand each other and constitute ourselves as citizens. Anyway, as an integral being of society, it was there that it all started. It was there that I managed to have this knowledge about who I was in the world. There we also had space to debate in addition to the weekly classes. So on Saturdays, we had meetings where we debated about race and gender, and it was in this place that references such as Sueli Carneiro, Leila Gonzalez, Angela Davis, and Carolina Maria de Jesus were presented, among many other references that are included that we call the Black movement. So, as part of the project itself, we start with the social assistance policy. So, the social assistance policy will guide and provide some services, some basic medium or high protection service. So, the Campo da Tuca Community Association, which is where this project was carried out, is linked to the social assistance policy that then offers the service of coexistence and strengthening of bonds for children and adolescents between 6 and 14 years old. So there I managed to act as a social educator, and from that we were able to strengthen the practice of social education. And it's also important that we have as a guide in I Bring the Law project that guides the issue of social education of the social educator, which is a law project in progress that will regulate the profession of the social educator. So the profession itself of the social educator is not regulated, but from movements from the educators themselves, it wins to have the strength to be able to regulate this professional that is so important in this public policy of social assistance. I mentioned the policy of social assistance and social education, And now I will talk about Law 10,639 of 2003. This law will establish the teaching of Black history and culture at the elementary and high school levels. And what does the law on education policy have to do with assistant policy? Professor Petrolina Gonçalves e Silva, who was one of the creators of this law, presents the law as a reference, and we base and propose using it as a reference in our project that was executed based on the policy of social assistance through social education. So they weren't teachers, they were social educators teaching the community. Professor Newman tells us that this Black movement is capable of seating the title of destabilizing subjective that deviates from conformism in the face of racism to subversion, overcoming it, and for the construction of radical policies of racial equality. So our act of bringing Law 10,639 of 2003 to the assistant policy is a law that regulates the issue within the education policy, and we transgress that managed to build from the assistance policy. So we were able to overcome the adversities of everyday life and bring to children and adolescents in a well-founded and regulated way this law that proposes these issues. Professor Newman tells us about this Black educator movement, and the project was created from this latent demand that was the reproduction of racism, and we realized that there was this demand and something to be built. So bringing together Black women, the educational community, and the community of mothers, we use this law in the area of education and managed to implement and build our intervention project articulating the issue of the reproduction of racism. We held workshops, debates, interventions, and reports from the children themselves, music workshops, and storytelling. Anyway, we brought some of this to the children and adolescents in the community, which is very effective. Contextualizing the second part of the article, we talk a little about the favela, of this favela scene from the inside told by children and adolescents. Just like the singer and songwriter Bezerra da Silva proposed to us through this music in the 80s. The singer, with his sambas and songs composed about a favela scene from the inside, where he had to see to speak, where he had to see to feel. He told us about a favela that no one saw. He described the favela through his songs and experience, where he was the protagonist himself. So we go back to the 60s to talk about another favela, not from Rio de Janeiro, but from São Paulo, the Canindé favela. This favela is described by Carolina Maria de Jesus. Seeing color in a predominantly forgotten place, we return to the past and arrive at another favela. It is the Canindé Carolina Maria de Jesus favela. This place has a single color, the yellow color, that predominated in the literary tale that she mentioned several times with the color of hunger. Carolina was also known for her diary, which was the first book she managed to publish. So from domestic to circus artists, many of the pieces of the circus were written by her. She also dared to send her manuscripts to publishers outside the country in hopes of publishing her diary. This attitude that many saw as completely naive, but that says a lot about a powerful, audacious writing woman who had a lot to say. Carolina Maria de Jesus is the writing of Conceição Evaristo, conceptualized in her dissertation in 1994. Carolina is the daring little black of the epigraphy of Lélia Gonzalez, writing in the 80s, as it can also be the woman of the end of the world, sung by Elza Soares in the year 2015. She can be all these women, as she transgressed time, the culture norm, and all the standards imposed on her reality. Carolina, in addition to the diary, in addition to writing, she also composed. So shortly after the book was published, she also dared to sing. And singing his compositions, which ending up releasing a well-known album with the same name as the book, O Quarto de Despejo. In these songs, even at that time, Carolina was able to describe this favela in her lyrics, just as Bezerra also described everyday situation. Finally, she managed to denounce situations that we debate and demand today, such as situations of sexism and issues of racism. And we were also able to understand and perceive this Canindé community through her compositions, her songs, and her experience, told by Carolina Maria de Jesus. So the question that guides the final art of this file is how to continue existing and resisting. So we ask Carolina Maria de Jesus how to continue existing and resisting us as Black people, knowing that the country that forgot her is the country that kills the most Black teenagers. How to keep going, knowing that this country treats public education and the teachers like garbage. How to continue in the worst poverty rates. How to continue knowing that racism and all practice of oppression are issues that still insist on whipping us. A stark reality that still inhabits different colored hells where hunger is yellow. A place where people still struggle not to succumb. So here are the references. I appreciate. Thank you very much.